and welcome to Parlons Marchés, your weekly market update from Daba Finance, where we make African markets, particularly Francophone Africa, simple, clear, and useful for every investor. Let us begin with the market indexes. The BRVM Composite, which tracks the overall performance of the regional stock market, rose by 1.44% to close at 442.87 points. The BRVM 30, which follows the largest and most liquid companies on the exchange, gained 1.91% and ended the week at 207.59 points. The BRVM Prestige also moved higher, rising by 0.98% to 173.41 points. The BRVM Principal advanced by 1.57% to reach 315.03 points. Why does this matter for investors? Because when several indexes rise at the same time, it shows that the market strength is not limited to just one or two companies. It suggests a broader improvement in investor confidence. For someone building a portfolio, this matters because a broad market recovery can create more opportunities across sectors, from telecoms to banks, logistics, consumer goods, and infrastructure. Trading activity also gave investors something to watch. The number of shares traded increased by 8.95%, reaching 4,181,690 shares, compared with 4,980,658 shares previously. In value terms, total transactions were almost stable, rising slightly by 0.23% to 9,629.9 million francs CFA, compared with 9,608.2 million francs CFA before. The total stock market capitalization also rose by 1.44%, reaching 17,060.7 billion francs CFA. Among the most actively traded stocks, Sonatel Senegal led the market with 2,061.2 million francs CFA in traded value. That represented 21.40% of the total value of stock transactions for the week. Société Générale Côte d'Ivoire came next with 920.9 million francs CFA, followed by SIB with 707.3 million francs CFA. This confirms a trend we have seen many times on the BRVM. Investors continue to focus heavily on leading telecom and banking stocks. These companies are usually more liquid, meaning it is easier to buy and sell their shares. They are also often seen as more stable because they have large customer bases, strong brands, and a history of paying dividends. Now, let us look at the top stocks of the week. Safca Côte d'Ivoire delivered the best performance, rising by 18.92% to 4,400 francs CFA. Africa Global Logistics Côte d'Ivoire came second, gaining 17.17% to close at 2,020 francs CFA. Tractafric Motors Côte d'Ivoire completed the top three, advancing by 15.34% to 4,700 francs CFA. These strong moves show that investors are actively looking for opportunities beyond the usual large-cap names. Sometimes a stock rises sharply because investors expect stronger results: a dividend announcement, a strategic update, or an upcoming general meeting. In simple terms, when the market believes a company may deliver good news, investors often move early. That buying pressure can push the share price higher. But here is the important lesson. A strong rise is not always a reason to rush in. It can be a signal to study the company more carefully. Investors should ask simple but powerful questions. Are earnings improving? Is the dividend sustainable? Is the company's debt under control? Is the stock still attractively priced after the rally? And does the company operate in a sector with long-term growth potential? On the downside, BRVM Côte d'Ivoire recorded the sharpest decline of the week, falling by 6.71% to 2,640 francs CFA. SOGB Côte d'Ivoire also declined by 5.71%, while Onatel Burkina Faso fell by 4.09% to 2,700 francs CFA. For investors, declines are not always bad news. Sometimes they simply reflect profit-taking. Profit-taking happens when investors sell after a stock has risen, in order to lock in their gains. It is a normal part of market behavior. But it is also a reminder that even in a rising market, selectivity matters. Let us move to the bond market. The BRVM bond market showed a slight decline in capitalization, moving to 13,136.0 billion francs CFA, compared with 13,169.2 billion francs CFA previously. That represents a decline of 0.25%. Trading activity reached 90,802 bonds, for a total value of 994.6 million francs CFA. The most traded bond was the 10-year bond from the Treasury of Côte d'Ivoire. with 87,500 securities exchanged for a total value of 875.0 million francs CFA. This single bond represented 87.67% of total bond trading volume and 87.98% of total bond transaction value. In other words, bond market activity was highly concentrated in one major sovereign security. This week's bond activity shows that many investors are still looking for stable income and liquidity. Liquidity means the ability to buy or sell an investment without too much difficulty. Sovereign bonds, especially those issued by governments with strong market recognition, often attract investors who want a balance between yield and perceived safety. Looking ahead to the week of June 22nd to June 26th, some bond opportunities continue to show attractive yields. Certain securities offer yields above 7%, and some shorter maturity bonds show even higher yields. But investors should remember that a high yield is not automatically a good deal. A very high yield may also reflect risk, limited liquidity, or market uncertainty. That is why research is essential before making any investment decision. Now, let us talk about one of the biggest themes of the season: dividends. The 2026 dividend season continues to be a major focus for BRVM investors. According to the weekly dividend recap, 31 out of 47 companies have decided not to pay dividends this year. That makes dividend-paying companies even more important for investors who are looking for income. The average dividend yield in the recap stands at 4.96%. Among the companies that have announced dividend payments in 2026, we can mention Orange Côte d'Ivoire, Sonatel, Ecobank. Côte d'Ivoire, BOA Burkina Faso, BOA Côte d'Ivoire, BOA Mali, BOA Senegal, BOA Benin, Chorus Bank, Onatel, Cable, Palm Côte d'Ivoire, BC, CIE, and Ecobank Transnational Incorporated. Some of these dividends have already been confirmed and paid. Others have been confirmed and are still waiting for payment. This is why tracking the dividend calendar matters. If you want to follow the full dividend calendar, including payment dates, ex-dividend dates, confirmed dividends, paid dividends, and updated yields, download the Daba app. It is one of the easiest ways to avoid missing important dates and to understand how dividend income can support your investment strategy. From a regional perspective, several BRVM and WAMU-related developments stood out during the week. First, the stock market continued its upward momentum, supported by large telecom, banking, and logistics names. Second, bond trading remained concentrated in Ivorian sovereign debt, showing continued investor interest in relatively liquid government securities. Third, the general meeting season remains very important. General meetings allow companies to approve dividends, discuss results, and give investors more visibility on future strategy. For families, young professionals, entrepreneurs, and long-term savers across Francophone Africa, these developments are important. A stronger stock market can create wealth-building opportunities. A more active bond market can provide income options. A strong dividend season can help investors generate cash flow. But none of these opportunities should be approached blindly. The key is education, discipline, and access to reliable analysis. Looking ahead to the week of June 22nd to June 26th, opportunities are still present, but investors must stay disciplined. Some stocks still appear to offer upside potential based on target prices, while others may already look expensive and could deserve caution. I will not name the specific stocks here, because those detailed recommendations are reserved for Daba Pro subscribers. But the message is clear: the market remains interesting as long as investors choose carefully and avoid emotional decisions. To receive weekly recommendations, access exclusive analysis, track dividends, compare yields, and reduce your investment fees, subscribe to Daba Pro. With Daba Pro, you do not just follow the markets, you stay ahead of them. And if you want to understand the stock market, bonds, dividends, and the basics of investing more deeply, Daba Academy is here for you. There is an ongoing promotion right now. Use the code PODCAST and receive a 3,000 XOF discount on your Daba Academy registration. Education is one of the best investments you can make before investing your money. This was your weekly market recap with Parlins Marchés, the podcast by Daba Finance. Stay curious, stay disciplined, and stay invested in the future of Francophone Africa. See you soon.